Homeless people are a problem. They're always either begging you for change or blowing each other in a post office at 7 p.m. Cue this related story. I went to the post office with my mom and friend at 7 p.m. It's not smart to do that, but my mom had some last minute packages to send off, so now my life is being put in danger because somebody couldn't wait until daylight. We drive up to the post office, and I see a homeless guy in front of it. It's dark out, so you might ask, how do I know he's homeless, and am I sure I'm not just a judgmental asshole? Now, rest assured, I'm a judgmental asshole. But you don't become successfully paranoid without being smart. He was sitting on the front steps of the post office, and he was wearing a beanie. There's no way this guy paid rent for anything. We get into the parking spot, and from this angle we can see that he's talking to a woman of some sort. I assume she was just some innocent bystander accosted by the typicality of someone who relies on other people's charity to supply himself with drugs, but on closer peripheral inspection, you never want to look directly at the homeless for fear of becoming their best friend, I saw that she was also wearing a beanie, and therefore also lived outside. So since they're sitting on the steps, we go out of our way to go around and use the handicap ramp, a handy benefit of neck-down paralysis. Now that we're inside the building, it starts to feel a little safer. The atmosphere stops feeling so damn heavy. There's another woman in there my mom's age, closing up a lockbox, and then she leaves and the place is empty but us. My mom has 2 boxes with Christmas whatevers in them for relatives inconvenient enough to live out of state, and she's working the self-help put stickers on the box thing that then goes into the metal chute thing. I don't know anything about that. About halfway through the button-pressing process of the first box, the front office doors open. Now, the layout of the building is such that when you walk in, there's a fat hallway of lockboxes on the left, and if you walk forward a bit, there's another. Then beyond that is the self-help bullshit where we are. So we hear the door open, and my mom and friend, who are braver than I, look back, but due to the post-blueprint design of the interior, you can't actually see back there. You can't see. But what you can hear is the steady cough of an addict coupled with the unbuckling of a belt. Plot twist, it was those 2 homeless humans from earlier. My eyes were straight ahead, never faltering in their fixation on the machine my mother was manipulating in front of me, because you can't be murdered by what you can't see. Meanwhile, my mom has receipts and stickers and her keys in her hand, until she doesn't, because she starts dropping everything. One at a time, a different article would fall from her grasp, as if on cue. She'd bend down and pick it up, and then the next object would go. I literally asked her out loud if she was doing it on purpose. And that's when I realized that the situation I was in right then was the intro to a Criminal Minds episode. You drive up to an empty lot. Uh-oh, there are some undesirable characters here. They're probably going to make an appearance later. You walk in just as the last other non-murderer leaves the now empty facility. You work in silence for a bit before you hear the ominous sound of more human presences, preluding the bodily functions they make that let you know they aren't the type to attend neighborhood potlucks. And then like an idiot, you try to brush off the feeling of imminent dread instead of grabbing your boxes and waiting 16 hours to try again. And then the next thing you hear, doodle-doo-doo-doo-doo, intro theme. I was not ready to die that night. So as my mom finally finishes the first box and puts it down the chute, the homeless team parks on the opposite side of the wall separating us from them, and proceeds to engage in muttered conversation. My ears were turned off at that point due to fear taking physical form and blocking my canals, but my friend later recounted to me that she heard them talking about stamps. Now this is where when I think back on the moment, it starts to feel a little less like a life or death situation. These people are homeless. They don't have shit to do with stamps. What are they going to do, steal our boxes and send temporary housing to their bum friends outside the border? Or maybe Shaggy's having a makeshift bong mailed over to the P.O. box he had before his house foreclosed. The point is that since hobos and stamps live in separate worlds, unless they're food stamps, they had no reason to talk about them, which means they were trying to write off their presences in the buildings, which means, in their own dirty sort of way, they were trying to be courteous to us by not talking loudly about the specifics of their druggy dick-suck transaction. And that's the kind of courtesy humanity needs more of. Thanks for listening.